Hello and welcome to our special feature series HDFC ERGO presents Insurance Ki Pathshala partnered by Times Network. HDFC ERGO General Insurance and Times Network have partnered to create insurance awareness across the country through this series. This awareness is important because even today many Indians simply don't understand the fundamentals of insurance. And to test this awareness, we spoke to Times Network viewers on the streets on today's topic, that is health insurance.
हेल्थ इंश्योरेंस लेने की वजह वो जो हॉस्पिटल का खर्चा जो आता है उसके लिए वो लिया है।
आजकल हॉस्पिटल का खर्चा बहुत बढ़ रहा है, अलग अलग तरह की बीमारियां हो रही है, इसलिए वो ठीक रहेगा।
आपको हेल्थ इंश्योरेंस आपकी किसी भी डिजीज में काम आता है, तो मेरा हिसाब ये है कि सभी को कराना चाहिए।
Nowadays it is very difficult to save in this economy. तो स्पेसिफिकली अगर माना जाए तो हेल्थ इंश्योरेंस सेविंग्स के लिए भी होना चाहिए और फैमिली के लिए भी होना चाहिए एक अलग से।
इंश्योरेंस देखिए 30 साल के बाद में ले लेना चाहिए, 30-35 साल के बाद में, क्योंकि शादी हो जाती है तो पूरा फैमिली का लेना चाहिए एक साथ में।
मेरे ख्याल से जब भी आदमी का अपना अर्निंग चालू हो जाएगा तब से हेल्थ इंश्योरेंस लेना जरूरी है। 25 to 30 मैक्स है, 30 से पहले ले लेना चाहिए क्योंकि ये होता है कि उसमें उस टाइम पे थोड़ा अफोर्डेबल भी होता है, थोड़ा प्रीमियम भी कम आता है।
As you start earning, because mostly people wait for to get married, but as you start earning, let's say 24 to 25 is the best age to go for the term insurance and the health insurance both.
मेरे पर्सपेक्टिव से जब हम जॉब करना स्टार्ट करते हैं, जब हम लोग जॉब करना स्टार्ट करते तब हम हमारे लिए और फैमिली के लिए लाइफ बिल्ड करना स्टार्ट करेंगे, तो उस वक्त हम लोग को पता नहीं क्या हो सकता है। उस वक्त अगर हम हेल्थ इंश्योरेंस लिया होगा तो एक एश्योरेंस रहता है कि इफ हमें कुछ भी हो स्टिल हमारे पास सपोर्ट करने के लिए स्टिल है उनके हेल्थ के लिए।
So we heard from the public, now time to understand from our experts, and please welcome our very special guest, Director and Chief Business Officer at HDFC ERGO General Insurance, Ankur Bahorey, and CEO of PD Hinduja Hospital and Medical Research Center, Gautam Khanna. Thank you so much for joining our show, sir. Let's start with basic, Ankur. In present time, why health insurance is important, health insurance is must?
So the way we look at, health insurance is nowadays not important, it's essential. And why it is essential, you look at the increasing cost of medical treatments. In India, the medical inflation is one of the highest in Asian countries, which is ranging from 12 to 15%. Also, you don't have to dip into your savings, in case you have a health insurance with you. Additionally, one of the main factors is the quality healthcare which everyone looks forward for. If you have health insurance with you, you don't have to think twice before getting into a good hospital wherein you can get the best treatment, best care for your own self. So it is an essential tool to give you peace of mind.
Sir, what percentage of patients coming to your hospital, because you are part of a very renowned hospital, percentage of patients having the health insurance coming to your hospital, and this percentage has increased over the years?
The insurance percentage has definitely increased. In the last 10 years or so, the business from our insurance paying patients used to be in the single digit and maybe in the high teens. Now it is more than 40%. People who are insured, they come through direct insurance companies or through TPAs or through their corporate insurance.
Okay, so how the percentage has changed for cashless and reimbursement over the years?
10 years ago, it used to be around 8 to 10% used to be cashless and insurance. Now it is close to 45%.
Ankur, still 40% of Indians lack health insurance, and we can say that missing middle is still a big challenge. How we can narrow this gap?
Thanks a lot for bringing attention to this, important segment, because what is happening in our country right now, thanks to the schemes which government has put into place, close to about 55 to 60 crore individuals are insured under the Pradhan Mantri, insurance. And that's the biggest scheme across the globe.
Yeah.
That's commendable work there. So that's the bottom of the pyramid. You look at the top of the pyramid where, corporates are offering insurance to their employees. That segment is about 12 to 15 odd crores. Individually, only 6 to 7 crore people have bought their own insurance. Now, what this gives us a gap of about 40-50 odd crore people, and this is what we're calling as missing middle. Now, affordability plays a very big role here, and hence it's a responsibility of all of us in this industry to make sure that we come up with products which are affordable, which are simple products to understand, so that these people also can be insured. So at HDFC ERGO, I can tell you, last year, we launched a product only specifically catering to missing middle.
Okay. So there is a confusion among policyholder that, okay, I'm having a policy by my employer. So can I get another policy also? Or do I need 2 policies, or there will be some sort of overlapping? So what would be your advice for those policyholders?
A lot of people either defer buying their own individual policies, assuming that they're covered in a corporate insurance. But what is happening is that this is tie-up to employment. Second, corporate insurances are also not of full limits. You know, it can be for a small value. There can be a lot of ifs and buts in terms of co-payment options, in terms of sub-limits, in terms of room rent capping, which a corporate may offer, because corporate also has to offer to all the people.
The employees.
And also, you know, many a times they cover parents, many of the times they only cover the individual or the family. So it is essential to avoid all this confusion, to have your own insurance into play. Lastly, you know, if someone retires, for example, now at the age of 60, if someone will go to market to buy insurance, it will be very difficult for him to. So we always recommend you may start small, buying your own,
because
and over a period
a
of
lot
time
of
you can.
policy holders I'm speaking to, they keep saying that we have a coverage through our employer company ki policy is there. So what is your experience to patients coming to your hospital? Majority is through the corporate policy or the individual policy? And have you found some sort of difference in their behavior?
People need to take their insurance, personal insurance, even when they are working for a corporate, because of all the differences he mentioned. You know, one of the things we see the problem with the patients who come in. So in India, we face a problem of underinsurance.
Okay.
That what happens is that the limits which they have got for insurance purposes, it is not in keeping with the costs of healthcare treatment in the large hospitals and metros in many cases. So sometimes they think that it is cashless, but then when they go into the details, they find that the limits are below what the estimate for the hospital treatment is. So that is one issue. Second issue which they face is that the corporates may sometimes corporates and the individuals may differ on the hospital which is to be chosen.
Okay.
Because the individual may like to choose a particular doctor or a particular hospital, while the corporate may have a preference
some sort of restrictions from the...
So that's why I think it's important to have that choice, and individuals should make that choice. And one more thing I just want to add to what Ankur mentioned, that you know, you talked about the missing middle. He talked about in the other rural tier 2 cities, people are taking insurance. I think they have understood, but one of the things which I request the insurance companies to do is to tell them that it is not necessary to utilize the insurance. What I mean is, just because you have insurance, don't think that you have not utilized the insurance, so it is a waste. It is not a waste. It is good that you are keeping good health.
Okay, sir, I will come to that question also. Sir, sir has raised a very important topic that under insurance, sum assured, it is lesser. So how to decide? Basic question is always there that, okay, I have to buy insurance policy, but how much I should go for?
So there's a combination of what's your age, what's your family background in terms of disease profile, has there been a history of any, you know, critical disease within the family? All these factors do play a role to determine the value. But for metros, we say that, you know, usually 15 times of your monthly salary is a good amount to have a sum insured. Or another yardstick is that for a major claim, you know, in a year, how much that will cost, whether it is 4 lakhs or 10 lakhs is one has to assess. Okay. Second, for non-metros, non-bigger locations, about a 10-time multiplier to monthly income should be done. If you are taking a policy for your family, so then you have to keep in mind, at least in a year, there can be 2 potential large claims. Now, how much that value would be, that depends on the cost of treatment within that location. And then you keep on assessing every 5 years in terms of how much sum insured you need, and you keep on enhancing it, given the cost of inflation of treatments.
We'll be right back after this break. Stay tuned. Hello and welcome back to HDFC ERGO presents Insurance Ki Pathshala, partnered by Times Network. We are talking about health insurance. There are few terms which are confusing for policyholders and customers, and now we are in Insurance Ki Pathshala discussing. So would like to understand from you consumable. From hospital's point of view, what all is part of consumable?
Anything which is not a medicine does not go inside the body, but it is used for the procedure. For example, you will put an IV catheter, IV line, and through that you will put a medicine, but the IV catheter is a disposable. To put the IV, you will put a tape. So the tape to hold the thing or the dressing is a disposable.
Okay.
The gowns which the doctors and the nurses will wear, the gloves which they will wear to prevent infection and to have a sterile environment, sometimes are called consumables. In any treatment, you need to provide the safest option for the patient. So you have to do all the things required to avoid the infection. So for that, sometimes they will wear 2 pairs of gloves. The surgeons will always wear 2 pairs of gloves. You know, a new doctor comes to check the patient, has to wash, use a antibiotic or whatever, use a hand rub. So all those things are part of the patient treatment. So those are not negotiable. You cannot say, please don't use gloves. So those are the category of items which are considered as consumables, and that is the time some insurance companies may or may not approve as per the policy.
Okay, sir. But you said that your policy...
Flagship product, Optimus, secure, and if you have not taken, please take it. Believe you me, that's a zero dissonance cover, because we know the cost of consumables is increasing,
Yes.
you know. Cost of consumables in any hospitalization is now ranging from 12 to 15%. Now, that's a rude shock for a customer, and that's the reason why our product...
You are allowing
But
consumable,
yes,
100%.
Yes, he's paying for it, and we are also honoring the request.
And the second one is deductibles.
As the term denotes, deductible is a standard amount which will be deducted when a claim is being admitted. So for example, if a treatment cost is say 5 lakhs and a person has taken a deductible of 50,000, so first 50,000 needs to be paid by the consumer, which is insured, and balance 450 will be paid by the insurance company. Now why it works well? Because with taking a policy with deductible brings down the premium substantially, because insurers are providing a discount for it. Now this is the way by which people can buy higher, you know, sum insureds with a base deductible, and that helps to bring down the cost very well.
So what is the right deductible?
So again, the way I tell is that any expense which you are able to afford in your normal way. For example, अगर किसी का हाथ टूटा, so which is 50,000 expense, if there is a small treatment of infection which is 50,000 or a 1 lakh, which one is able to afford, please take that deductible. Health insurance always is for the bigger and more complex, you know, issues which one faces. And
for a smaller amount, you can go for that.
So again, it depends on individual to individual.
Sir, TPA. What is TPA and how TPAs got changed over the years?
So TPAs, as it is a third-party administrator. So they are the people who are helping the patients and the hospitals connect with the insurance companies and the other way around. So they will process the claim, they will make sure that the documentation is clear, they will follow up with the insurance companies. If insurance companies has any queries, then they will follow up with the hospital, they will follow up with the patient. So that is a very important step in this chain. And what happens is many times the TPA who is stationed in the hospital knows a lot more about what are the queries which are coming, what are the responses which will come from the hospital. So sometimes even before the documentation is submitted to the insurance companies, they will say, can you please add so and so? Or if the insurance company asks a question, they'll say, yes, we have done this in the past. This is the answer. So that is a very important facilitating step in the hospital.
The last one is the copay and how it different from deductible.
Copay means we pay together. Now, if someone has taken a policy with a copay of say 20%, and if the bill is 10 lakhs, so 20% is what needs to be borne by the individual, which is the insured, and balance 80% will be paid by the company. Again, this is being done wherein, say for example, there are products wherein affordability is kept in mind, where the premiums are lower. That's where copay comes into. A lot of cases which are of chronic ailments, insurance companies have put in products which has got copays. Again, this is making it more participative.
What's your favorite, sir, deductible or copay?
So I'll go for deductible, and the reason is because looking at the claim, every year you don't claim, so deductible helps one to make sure that, your premium also lower, at the same time, you are able to increase your coverage also over a period of time. So I personally prefer deductible.
So now I'll move to some specific questions from our Times Network viewers. Typically, what is the cost of major surgery these days? Can you help us understand with few examples?
Let's say in a metro city, in a large hospital, in a single room, the cost of surgeries, for example, if you're talking about knee replacements, both knee replacements, that may be between 8 to 10 lakhs. If you're talking about bypass surgery, in the same range, 10, 12 range. If it is oncology is a separate thing, because there the chemo and the costs will go very, very high. But that's the range. So if you go to a town which is tier 2 town, this cost will come down definitely by 20 to 30%. It will come down. And if you choose a room which is a twin sharing, then the cost comes down. So it depends on what category, but for a reference, for a single room, that's the amount you can take.
Okay, sir. Ankur sir, are regular health checkups mandatory for taking up any health insurance?
Not every insurance company is insisting on a health checkup. So typically in the industry, it's seen that till 45, no one asks for a health checkup unless someone declares that there is a medical condition into play.
Okay.
Now, if a medical condition is being declared by a prospective customer, then it is a right of an insurance company to understand the risk better. I personally advise people, whether insurance company is insisting or not, if you have done medical checkups, which a lot of us do, basic routine checkups, please share with the insurance company, because that brings in a lot of confidence to the insurance company what they're underwriting. Second, where insurance companies are insisting for a health checkup. For example, if someone is buying higher sum insureds, nowadays people are going for 1 crore, 2 crore, 3 crore, 5 crore sum insureds also. People are going for local and international covers. For example, we have a global cover in place. Now, for all such, or someone who is of a higher age, say 50, 55 or 60, it's better to do the health checkup so that insurance company also has a record at the time of onboarding what all was the medical condition.
Sir, for doctors, how scenario has changed from illness to wellness?
I personally think, and this is what I tell everyone, that we need to get the health checkup for people, even if it is not mandatory by insurance. They should still do it. I mean, think of any other asset you own. You insure a car, you do a health checkup for the car. Why can't you do a health checkup for the body every year? So that's one session. And I think the doctors now are also emphasizing that better to do a preventive health checkup. Because what is happening is that the moment you do a health checkup, it is not about finding out whether you have a disease or not. But at least that's a baseline. And then if you track it over every year, you will know if there is an early onset of disease, if there is something you need to be careful about, whether it's your diet, whether it's exercise, or any other thing. So I think from prevention point of view, the basic health checkup and preventive health checkup is a must. And most of our doctors now advise that you should do it after a certain age, at least once a year.
What percentage of your patients coming to your hospital is having a chronic disease?
In India today, as you may have seen, that The non-communicable diseases are increasing. They're almost more than 2/3 now, and in a few years they will be the cause of major illnesses in the country. So we cannot say how many are coming with chronic, but definitely 60% plus they have some kind of a chronic condition, whether hypertension or diabetes or any such thing.
And sir, how this chronic diseases impact my health insurance policy?
As insurance companies, we encourage people to come forward and declare such chronic issues. The insurance companies are applying a waiting period of 2 years or 3 years, depending on the criticality of this disease. And then after that, the insured is covered. Also, we make sure that anyone who's suffering from a chronic disease, for example, chemotherapy. Now, chemotherapy needs a standard 8 cycle, 10 cycle, 12 cycles. So we want to make sure that customer only comes to us once. We approve the cycle once and the customer can go and take treatment 10 times, 12 times. So again, that's a service elevation we're doing. But yes, we're encouraging people, if you're aware, please declare.
So now I'll move to our last leg, which is rapid fire. I have a statement for both of you, and you have to tell us it's a myth or fact. You can claim against 2 health insurance policies for the same amount.
Fact. If you have a claim of 10 lakhs, for example, and you've got 2 insurance policies, so you can claim under both the policies, but you cannot claim for amount more than what you've spent. Health insurance is a pure indemnification product. So if the bill is 10 lakhs, both the policies you can put together and claim 10 lakhs. It's not possible that you claim 10 lakhs in first policy also and in the second policy also.
Mr. Khanna, in cashless claim scenario, you make no payments at all.
No, you do make a little bit. The deductibles, the consumable cost, and if the amount of the treatment is more than the policy insured, then you have to pay the difference.
Ankur, premiums are lost if no claims are made.
He answered this, but the reason why it is a myth is because health insurance is not a savings product. It is a product to manage your risk and bring peace of mind. So if someone is not claimed in a year, it's not that the premium is lost. The premium is well invested back into the policy, wherein insurers are providing you no claim bonus. Your sum insureds are going up. Now, all this results into a benefit to the customer in the subsequent years. Objective of having health insurance is not to claim every year.
And the added benefit is that patient continues to be healthy.
Yeah, exactly. A lot of my friends say this, I've been paying for 5 years and I've not taken a single claim.
So
I said,
thank God.
Thank God.
Exactly.
At least 24 hours of hospitalization is mandatory for insurance claim.
Not necessary. Nowadays, there are many procedures which can be done in daycare surgeries and in short stay services, and they are all approved by insurance companies.
Okay, so thank you so much, Mr. Khanna. Thank you so much, Ankur, for sharing your thoughts on our Insurance Ki Pathshala.
Thank you, Anurag, for fantastic work which you're doing to, spread the awareness, because I personally feel that this consumer information is the key for people to buy. A lot of people don't buy insurance, but yes, I'm hoping that through your sessions, a lot of people will gain confidence and will start buying insurance.
This is HDFC ERGO presents Insurance Ki Pathshala, partnered by Times Network. See you next time.